Hello again. We're in day 3 of lockdown, and it's the 29th of March. And we're still all bored to tears, but this helps the boredom. This is very good that the lovely Haley's set this up. I'm going to talk about two things today, and the first one is how I made a very big booby when I was first officer on a ship called the Bulk Ness, quite a big bulk carrier, and it was used for transporting gypsum, which is used to make aluminium, from the Australia, Gladstone, Australia, all the way down to the bottom of the South Island to Bluff, where there's an aluminium smelter. And we did a trip every 6 weeks. And I was on that ship for about 2 years altogether, and it was nicknamed the Gold Dredge because we got paid Aussie dollars, and that time was worth about a third more to us. Got paid in Aussie dollars, so we actually got quite well paid. Anyway, it involved going across the Tasman, and the Tasman is not particularly a good sea at the best of times, and particularly down south, bottom of the Tasman Sea. And it was a large bulk carrier. She'd have to be about 200, maybe 220 meters long, and it was just 6 big hatches, and they just poured in the gypsum. Anyway, one of my jobs as chief officer is when we left Bluff heading up to Gladstone, was to make sure the anchors were all secure, and turn the levers and the wheels, and make sure that everything is secure, so the anchors can't let go. And I didn't make a good job of it, as you'll find out later. Well, we started off in the usual, straight into a howling southwesterly. Actually, it was a northwesterly at about 35, 40 knots, full gale, typical weather. And we bashed and bashed and bashed. And it normally takes about 6-7 days to get up to Gladstone. And after about the third day, the chief engineer was complaining that the fuel consumption was very high. And, even allowing for the slip and the bad weather, he couldn't understand why the speed had dropped off as well. Instead of doing, our usual 14 knots, we were down to about 12 and a half knots, and there was no real reason for it. So anyway, we put up with that, and the weather got a bit finer, and the sun came out, and we got nearer to Gladstone. It was my job to go up again with the bosun and check the anchor and free it ready for letting go if we needed it and stuff. And to my horror, when I looked over the bow, there was the anchor. It was going straight down. I didn't even see the anchor. It was way down deep, and the chain was dragging, and the anchor was probably down about, well, it turned out later it was down about a good 25 meters, and it had been dragging all the way since Bluff. In the storm, it must have worked itself loose and paid out itself about 25 meters, then jammed again, solid. And it was like that all the way. And of course, that was acting like a big drag. So I have a reason why the fuel consumption was up and the speed was down. And I called the captain up on the VHF and explained it. And I knowed him quite well. He was actually a bit of a friend of mine, and he took it quite well. But I think the chief engineer didn't. But anyway, we had a big laugh of it, and I had to shout the lots and lots of beer in the bar for my mistake. But that was the reason. It had been just acting like a big sea anchor, and it was enough cable out so it didn't actually go up and bang the underside of the ship, because we would have heard that. It was too deep for that. And it's just as well that I found out before we went to shallow water, because it would have been dragging in the on the bottom in shallow water. So I'll never forget that, and I'll never be I'll never be made to forget about it either. From it's going way back to what year was that now? That would be 1980. 1980. Yeah, in the old Malt Ness, which is long since gone, of course. But that was one of my better mistakes. So there, that's that one anyway. So there we are.